Okay, so good evening sa lahat, no? And it's been a long time since I've been going live dito sa Facebook. And matagal-tagal na rin, siguro mga 2 or 3 weeks na akong hindi nakapaglabas ng isang video or reaction video or any of such sort, ano? So medyo napa-emergency live ako bigla dahil dito sa nilabas sa DepEd Order number 5 series of 2024. So basically, we have been given the new DepEd order. Ngayon lang talaga ni-release, as in ngayong araw lang. Kasi April 29, 2024 yung date of release niya. And then yung signed memorandum, ano din siya, tawag nito, nakalagay din sa date niya, April 29, 2024. I'm looking up here kasi nandito yung second monitor ko. Nandito yung policy nilabas ko. So, pinipare ko na siya. So, I have browsed through. Tinignan na natin, no? Binigyan natin ng konting, kumbaga, run through yung ang policy nung binasa natin kanina. Medyo nabigla ako sa policy kasi I'll discuss it later on. Kasi maganda yung intent, medyo as usual, kagaya ng DepEd Order number 2, medyo hilaw pa rin, may mga issues yung policy eh. Sayang nasasayangan ako sa mga ganitong policy. Ang ganda sana ng intent niya, yung objective niya, napakaganda, pero medyo sige lang, we'll discuss it. Okay, first things first, let's share the policy. So ito yung nilabas na policy nila, DepEd Order number 5 series of 2024, also known as the rationalization of teachers' workload in public schools and payment of teaching overload. So in essence, maiintindihan mo na kung ano yung objective ng policy natin. So nandiyan na rin yung rationale ng policy. So, if you haven't read the policy, nasa DepEd website na siya, nakapublish na siya doon, you can download it for yourself para makita nyo rin and mabasa nyo rin ng buo yung policy. Palitan natin yung screen para medyo mas malaki. Yan. Okay. This is a lot better. I need to hide this. Hide, sidebar. Yan, para mas klaro talaga, no? Okay. So we have the rationalization of teachers' workload in public schools and payment of teaching overload. Yun yung giging topic natin for tonight. So, okay, gusto ko sana ibigay na lang yung summary ng policy pero it would be unfair para sa mga gumawa rin ng policy kung hindi ko i-discuss, ay di natin babasahin, di ba? So part 1, the Department of Education issues the enclosed policy on the rationalization of the teacher's workload. So, yun yung magiging, objective niya talaga. And then, ito yung directions daw niya. Teachers shall render 8 hours of service per day, of which 6 hours shall be devoted to actual classroom teaching. So, dito yung sinasabi natin na contact hours, yung teacher-student contact hours. Yung actual teaching talaga yung teacher. Yun yung 6 hours or 360 minutes. The remaining 2 hours shall be allotted for work incidental to normal teaching duties which may be spent within or outside the school premises. So yun, isa sa highlight nitong policy na ito. Teka lang. Isa sa pinakamalaking highlight ng policy na ito is the fact that stipulated na dito kung ano yung magiging content nung scope ng 2 hours. Pwede siyang sa loob ng classroom, pwede siyang sa labas ng classroom. It builds on former Secretary Jess Lapus statement during his tenure as the Department of Education Secretary, nung sinabi niya na talaga namang hindi nakastipulate sa kahit anong policy ng civil service or ng Department of Education na yung natitirang 2 oras should only be solely spent within the classroom or school premises. Sa position ni former DepEd Secretary Jess Lapus, sabi niya, mas merong advantages if ang teachers are actually spending their 2 hours outside the school. Bakit? Kasi mas makakalibre ang school ng expenses when it comes to electricity and water bills. So, mas kukonti yung consumption ng mga teachers kapag wala sila sa school when they are spending the 2 hours na remaining time ng kanilang 8-hour na office duty or office work hours. Yung buong duty ng teachers na mandated ng civil service na 8 hours. Kung yung 2 oras na yun spent outside the school, mas makakatipid yung school. So, yan yung isa sa magandang nakita natin dito sa policy na ito, no? Third part, other teaching-related work such as but not limited to being school coordinator shall be duly compensated in accordance with Section 14 of Republic Act 4670. So, merong minention dito na school coordinatorship which is a teaching-related work. So, yun yung condition. It should be considered as a teaching-related work. Kapag teaching-related work siya, pwede siyang compensated. O, yun yung nakita natin ha. Yung coordinatorship, if it is teaching-related, obviously, automatically, dapat mako-compensate siya if and only if umabot na siya sa 6-hour teaching load. In exigency of service, actual classroom teaching in excess of the required 6 hours shall be compensated through payment of teaching overload provided that it does not exceed 2 hours per day. O, yun. Yun yung pinaka, highlight niya. Na yung exigency of service, hindi nila define yung term, yung consider nating exigency of service eh. Actual classroom teaching in excess, meaning lagpas na sa 6 hours. Kunwari, yung actual teaching load mo is 420 hours kasi 7 yung tinuturo mo or 8 yung tinuturo mo na 6 hours, 60 minutes na subject. 50 and 30 minutes na subject, I mean. Kasi wala naman 60 minutes na subject ngayon. So, kunwari, umabot ka ng 420 minutes, it shall only be compensated through teaching overload, provided it does not exceed 2 hours per day. Dapat daw yung remaining or excess na teaching load mo, yung actual teaching, contact with your students, dapat hindi siya lalagpas sa 2 hours na ancillary na supposedly na ibinibigay sa'yo or allotted para sa'yo na binigay sa atin ng ating ahensya. The mechanisms, procedures, and standards stipulated herein shall guide all offices, schools, blah blah blah, etc. Appropriate, consideration. Okay, wala na to. Chechebureche na lang to. Ito yung rationale. Ito yung ito yung mga, kumbaga, triggering circumstances that obligated the Department of Education to release this policy. Ito yung parang naging mitigating circumstances. Bakit nilabas itong policy na ito? So, you can read all of that. Scope. Ito yung definition of terms. Sa scope muna tayo. This order covers all DepEd employed teachers engaged in classroom teaching on a full-time basis under permanent, provisional, or substitute status in all public elementary and secondary schools. Furthermore, this policy shall be implemented across all governance levels. The guidelines, parameters, and processes outlined herein shall guide DepEd schools, division offices, regional offices, and the central office in the distribution of teacher workloads, streamlining of teaching-related tasks, as well as computation and compensation of teaching overload and accumulation of VSC in accordance with existing laws, rules, and regulations. So, there's this presumption na this has been coordinated with the existing policies and laws that governs our agency in our country. Ganon. Definition of terms. Class advising duties. Ano daw yung ibig sabihin niya? Refers to ancillary tasks performed by a class advisor. Yun yung advisory. To manage a class or group of learners for a certain grade level. Classroom refers to a learning space. Compensation refers to monetary payment. Yun. Merong monetary payment to teachers for services rendered. This includes salary and wages, or additional incentives attached to work rendered for their position. So, merong compensation. Pero yung title ng ating policy, service credit focused. Yun yung isa sa napansin ko. And then remediation refers to the instructional program designed to support struggling learners who have not developed or attained expected curricular competencies. And then school head, teacher ancillary tasks refer to work incidental to the teacher's normal teaching duties. And teacher shortage refers to the deficiency in the number of teachers in the school. It is defined as the shortage derived from the latest enrollment data, teacher inventory data from the BEIS. Okay. Teachers, teaching load, teaching overload, actual classroom teaching in excess of prescribed 6 hours. The teaching overload shall not exceed 2 hours a day or 10 hours a week. So, yun yung problem. Teka, papasukin ko muna itong pusa ko. Medyo maingay eh. Okay, I'm back. So, matatawag na siya na teaching overload kapag hindi siya lalagpas ng 2 hours. I'll talk about that later on. Teacher overload pay refers to the additional compensation of public school teachers who render actual teaching, classroom teaching beyond the required 30 hours a week. The compensation shall be at least 25% of a teacher's regular remuneration. Ewan, saan galing to? Yung remuneration niya, considered na monetary payment to. Di ba? Yun yung magiging ano niya eh. 25% daw yun. Medyo nagtataka nga ako eh. Paano siya kinuwenta na 25% eh? Bakit 25% lang? But anyway, teacher-related assignments refer to tasks related to teaching and academic learning which support learner development, and the VSC or the Vacation Service Credits o yung service credit na bibigay. Okay? Policy statement, blah blah. Ito. Streamlining teaching workload. A public school teacher shall render 8 hours of work per day. So, you still have to work 8 hours. Of which, 6 hours shall be allocated for 6 hours shall be devoted to actual classroom teaching. Yung teacher-student contact. Yung naiiwan daw na 2 hours shall be allocated for teacher ancillary tasks, which may be spent within or outside school premises. Ang problema niyan, paano magagawin yan sa DTR? Yung form 48 natin. Kasi nakalagay sa form 48, 8 hours talaga yung computation. Yung kasunod nakalagay dyan, no teacher shall be required to submit documentary evidence or accomplishment reports on how the 2 hours of ancillary tasks are spent outside school premises. So, ibig ba sabihin nito, kapag malalabas na si teacher sa school kasi mag-spend na yung 2 hours niya, maglalag out siya sa school. So, tapos na yung 6 hours na actual teaching, maglalag out siya sa school. Uwi na siya. Sa bahay na niya gagawin yung 2 oras na ancillary task. Kasi nakalagay naman dito na wala dapat isasubmit na documentation to justify na ginawa nga niya yun. So, ibig ba sabihin nun, yung DTR natin, 6 hours na talaga nakalagay? Hindi kasi nilagay eh. Ang labo ng policy eh. Unfair siya sa mga teachers ng mga floating. 6 hours pa rin siya nagtuturo, pero floating siya, so mayroong mga 2 hours niya could be in between 2 or 3 learning areas. Kunwari, ako, magtuturo ako ng MAPE teacher ako, so may break ako na 30 minutes or 1 hour bago ako magkaklase ulit ng MAPE sa ibang na namang subject, sa iba na namang section. And so on and so forth. Sa elementary na case to wala akong secondary. Kasi hindi ko rin maintindihan bakit ganyan yung schedule ng secondary eh. Sa elementary lang, kasi nasa elementary ako. And I handled MAPE before. Napakarami kong break. Ibig ba sabihin nun, pwede ako umuwi? Kasi I can spend it outside the school eh. Kasi part yun siya ng 2 oras ko eh. Di ba? 8 hours ako sa classroom from sa school, from 7:30 to 4:30. 12 to 1 o'clock, sabihin kong break ko. Yan yung schedule ko before. When I was still teaching on my first school. So, unang school na na-assign ako. When I was still a floating teacher, academic teacher, 12 to 1 o'clock, break ko. But in between all of that hours, from 7:30 to 12 o'clock, hindi yung ratsada na nagtuturo ako ng MAPE. Hindi. Merong breaks doon. Nagsisimula, may mga subject ko, nagsisimula 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock to 8:40 yata yun, and then break. And then babalik ako around 10. And then break na naman kasi dalawang tuturo ko lang sa subject yun, break na naman kasi lunch break na. And then sa hapon, may mga 10 minutes break, 15 minutes break. Ibig ba sabihin nun, pwede ako umuwi? So every time na uuwi ako, kailangan ko ba mag-log out? Tapos magla-log in ako? Swerte siya sa classroom teacher na advisor. Di ba? Kung teach all ako, grade 1 to grade 3 sila, classroom teacher sila na advisor eh. Teach all sila eh. So, ibig ba sabihin sila, kasi magtuturo sila from morning till the end of the afternoon, ratsada yun, lahat ng learning area, uwi ng bahay, yung 2 hours nila, sigurado silang pwede nilang tatapusin sa bahay. Paano yung mga academic teacher? Paano yun? Ang labo ng policy eh. Ano ang tool for measurement nun? Sinasabi dito na shall not be required to submit documentary evidence. Imagine that. Ang labo. Ang labo talaga. In a week, a teacher must be able to render 30 hours of actual classroom teaching. Lahat naman ng teachers eh. At most, let's say 90%. Kaya, ginagawa talaga to. Yung iba lumalagpas pa. And let us be fair na may mga schools talaga na underload. Pero hindi naman nila kasalanan yun kasi kulang yung building eh. So, napipilitan sila mag-adjust sa schedule ng school nila kasi emergency session. Kaya nagkakaroon ng underload. Saan pinapalo? Sa ancillary or coordinatorship. Doon na lang sila para mabigyan na ng trabaho, matapos na yung 6 hours. Pero yung 2 hours kasi na nilagay nila dito, hindi masyadong klaro yung stipulation kung paano siya gagawin. Parang ina-assume nila na lahat ng teachers teach all. Eh yung teach all lang naman, grade 1 to grade 3, kinder to grade 3, sila lang yung teach all. Key stage 1 lang. Eh, paano na yung ibang key stages? Grade 4 to grade 12, paano yun? Ano ang magiging pamaraan nila to actually monitor this? Wala. O, ito. Teachers shall render 6 hours of actual classroom teaching. At teka, balik muna ako dun. Kunwari yung pagtuturo ko 9 o'clock pa magsisimula. Yung office hours, yung school hours, nagsisimula, sabihin na natin, 7:30, yung regular start ng klase. Pero yung klase ko, magsisimula siya ng 9:30. Ibig bang sabihin, pwede ako mag-log in 9 o'clock? Isi-spend ko yung 2 hours na ancillary ko sa bahay muna. Kasi yun yung ancillary ko eh. Pwede ba yun? Ibig bang sabihin nun, hindi ako mada-under time. So they are going to enforce that sa policy ng Magna Carta dito. Kasi sa tagal-tagal ko sa DepEd, hindi yun ini-enforce. Yun yung unang tinitira namin previously when we were studying the workload policy tool. Before ito nilabas, 2018 namin yun, diniscuss. Kapag ba 9:30 yung simula ng klase ko, ibig ba sabihin pwede akong mag-log in sa school at 9:15? So, isa rin ba ito sa implication ng sinasabi natin sa policy na a teacher can do or accumulate the 2 hours outside the school premises? Ibig ba sabihin ganun? Kung ako teacher ngayon, pag nilabas na, kasi nilabas na ito eh. Kung ako floating teacher ako, magsisimula yung klase ko 8:30, hindi ako magpapakita sa school hanggat hindi pa dumadating ang 8:30. Bakit? Di ako bayad. Kasi kung nandun ako sa school, ibig sabihin, dapat gagawa ko ng ancillary task. Di ba? So, saka na ako magpapakita sa school, ubusin ko muna yung ancillary hours ko. Tatawagin natin ang ancillary hours to 2 hours na to. Ubusin ko man yung ancillary hours ko outside the school premises. Anyway, other teachers are actually doing it. Kasi yun yung recommendation ng policy. No teachers shall be required to submit documentary evidence or accomplishment report kung paano niya inubos yung 2 oras. So in other words, wala na kayong pakte kung paano ko uubusin yung 2 oras na yun. Kung saan ko yun gagawin. Diba? Kasi wala namang documentary evidence eh. This is the first time na naka-encounter ako ng policy na walang MOV. As in, this is the first time. Walang MOV na policy. Okay. Teachers shall render 6 hours of actual teaching load and 2 hours shall be allotted of teacher ancillary tasks incidental to the teacher's normal teaching duties, blah blah blah. Master teachers shall likewise render 6 hours in case wherein master teachers are designated as class advisors. This task shall form part of the 6 hours of actual classroom teaching. Oh, yun pa. Grade 3 teachers, teach all. 8 learning areas yan. Yang 8 learning areas, automatic 360 minutes yan. Grade 3 ah. Si grade 3, classroom advisor din. Ibig ba sabihin, every day, meron siyang compensation? Kasi mayroong isang teaching load doon. Mayroong isang teaching load doon, automatic, na lagpas sa 360 minutes. Kasi 60 minutes ang allotment ng advisory. So, ibig sabihin, may 60 minutes na sobra. May 60 minutes na utang ang DepEd sa teacher na yan. So, ratsada, lahat ng grade 3 teachers automatic mag-a-apply nito. Hindi binanggit dito kung yun ba ay part sa compensation, via remuneration, or via VSC, or vacation service credit. Kaya sa post ko na nauna kanina, sinabi ko talaga, hilaw ang policy. This is not the right way to actually... Ganda ng objective, hindi maganda yung... Hindi tiningnan yung mga current circumstances sa field eh. In line with the function of master teachers as defined in the PPST, coaching, mentoring, provision of technical assistance to the college shall be treated as an ancillary task. Oh, pato na naman. And shall be compensated with VSC if performed beyond the 8-hour workday following the procedures provided therein. Nagsalubong. Conflict. Bakit? Yung function daw ng coaching, mentoring, and provision of TA sa mga kapwa niya teachers, ng mga MT, part daw yun sa ancillary. Bakit bang unfair siya sa mga nag-ancillary outside the school premises? So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng TA within the school premises. Lahat ng coaching within the school premises. Granted na ang ancillary task is actually for preparing of lesson plans, preparing of instructional materials, especially kung ikaw at teach all ka, ang dadaming ipe-prepare mo. Yun yung purpose ng ancillary na 2 hours in preparation of actual classroom teaching. Yun yung purpose ng 2 oras na yun. Na for each learning area, meron kang 20 minutes to prepare for that particular lesson. I-divide mo. 2 hours. That's 120. 120 minutes. I-divide mo into 6 learning areas. That's around, magkano? 20 minutes. So for each learning area, for 6 learning areas, you are allotted about 20 minutes to prepare for that learning area. Lesson planning, instructional material. Granted na yun talaga yung purpose ng kung bakit mayroong 2 oras. Kung isasali mo pa yung coaching, mentoring, and provision of TA dun sa 2 oras na yun, binawasan mo rin yung preparation of preparation of teaching, learning related activities na para dapat sa mga learning areas na yun ng mga MT. Dapat hindi kasama dun dapat yung coaching, mentoring, and TA, it could be either part ng 6-hour teaching load or magiging VSC siya, additional. Hindi mo ipapasok sa ancillary. Kasi iba yung purpose ng 2 hours ng ancillary. Hindi. Ewan. Class advising duties as part of the ancillary task of teacher shall be treated as one teaching load, equivalent to 1 hour. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina. Or 5 hours a week. Kasama na daw doon yung homeroom guidance program. Ito, pinipilit talaga nila itong HGP na to eh. Yung dating music na may gawa nitong HGP na to eh. Ewan ko na lang. Remediation and or enhancement classes shall likewise be treated as a teaching load. Okay ha? Remediation and or enhancement classes shall likewise be treated as a teaching load. Bakit hindi yan nilagay dito sa definition of terms? Bakit hindi yan nilagay dito? Remediation refers to the instructional program designed to support struggling learners who have not developed or attained expected curricular competencies. Wala sa definition of terms. Bakit wala? Wala siya oh. Pero treated as one pala siya, remediation and or. Hindi yata ni-review yung policy. Critical ako kasi 2 taon namin pinag-aralan tong the workload balancing ng mga teachers. 2 years. 2 years namin pinag-aralan yan. With the central office, with former Director Roger Masapol. 2 years namin tong pinag-aralan. Pero ito, obvious masyadong hilaw, minadali. Mahirapan na naman tayong i-implement ito. Ang ganda ng objective. Teachers designated as teachers in charge are considered school heads. The designation of TIC shall be supported by the duly signed SDS. Hence, the teachers in charge shall be relieved of teaching and other related duties and perform fully the function of school head. However, ayun na naman. And the exigency of service. Itong exigency of service, i-define nyo rin minsan. Ano itong mag-consider na exigency of service? Dalas ko na mababasa ito eh. I-define natin. Lagyan natin ng scope. Lagyan din natin ng limitation. Hindi pwedeng vague masyado yung exigency of service. Teacher in charge may be given teaching loads on the condition that all teachers in the school have been assigned the maximum teaching overload for 2 hours. The teaching load of the IC shall form part of their regular work hours. As a result, any work performed beyond the regular work hours shall be compensated accordingly. So, yung mga TIC, babayaran rin. Ang problema, wala sa policy, paano? Puro pangako. Teaching overload, hours. The school head shall ensure that teaching load is equitably and fairly distributed among teachers. Okay, trabaho daw ng school head to. Teaching overload. Hours rendered as a actual classroom teaching in excess. Blah, blah. Sa general rule, ito. Basahin pala natin to. Hours rendered as actual classroom teaching in excess, na sosobra daw sa 6 hours sa bawat araw, shall be counted as teaching overload. The number of minutes accumulated on a weekly basis, so yung pagbibiling niya sa loob ng 1 linggo, shall be converted into hours. Kasi ilang minutes yun per day, ko-convert natin into hours pagdating ng end of the week. And which will be shall be computed for appropriate teaching overload pay. Kung yun ay teaching. Yung ginagawa ni teacher, hindi siya ancillary ha, teaching talaga. Pay. Overtime pay na yan. Tawag dyan overload. Yun yung parang term natin sa DepEd, overload. To ensure the general welfare of teaching personnel, the maximum hours of teaching overload per day is 2 hours. So, yung teaching overload, dapat 2 oras lang. Kung magkakaroon man ng overload ng teaching, yung isang guro hanggang 2 oras lang daw. Ang problema kung paano kung susobra sa 2 oras, ano mangyayari? Not counted, TY na? Ganun ba yun? Kung yung 2 oras na yun, overload yun siya, may compensatory remuneration yun siya, ibig sabihin, yung 2 oras, sabihin na natin, naubos yung 2 oras na yun as overload teaching. Yun yung babayaran ng DepEd through remuneration. Ibig sabihin nun, per day, meron siyang 2 hours, that 120 minutes, sa loob ng isang linggo, 2 times 5 is 10 hours. So, 10 hours yung babayaran ng DepEd sa kanya every week. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin din nun, lahat ng ancillary task niya, teaching preparation, etc., sa bahay niya gagawin. At dahil overload teaching yun siya, ibig sabihin, may additional 2 hours din pala siyang kailangan i-prepare. Aside from the 6 actual teaching load. Hindi na naman ito tiningnan. Every time na meron kang 6 hours teaching load, yung 2 hours na yun yung preparation mo for that 6 hours. Ngayon, kasi yung meron ka mang excess na overload, 2 oras na naman, as was acknowledged by this policy, may 2 oras ka na naman, ibig sabihin, yung ancillary mo, madadagdagan din yun ng oras dapat. For that actual 2 hours sa teaching load. Assuming na for every learning area meron kang 20 minutes, ibig sabihin magkakaroon ka ng additional 40 minutes ancillary na dapat babayaran pa rin ng DepEd. Ganun yun. Hindi na naman yun na-recognize ng policy. Yun yung problema eh. Butas, hindi na naman tiningnan. Minsan kasi kailangan natin makinig sa mga tao na nasa field. Hindi yung nasa opisina lang. Ulitin ko, 2 years namin itong pinag-aralan. Ito, teaching related assignments. Pansin nyo? Teaching related assignments. Yun yung binanggit ha. Hindi coordinator, hindi specification ng coordinatorship or ancillary or administrative task kasi nga sa DepEd Overload number 2 tinanggal na lahat ng administrative task. So ito yung recognition niya. Teaching related assignments. Ibig sabihin ito lang yung mga trabaho na may relationship. Meron siyang connection sa pagtuturo. Other than this, considered na siya na administrative task. Yun yung sagot sa DepEd Order number 2. 1. School coordinator kapag reading or numeracy. 2. Research. 3. Mga SPED. 4. ICT. 5. Guidance and advocacy. 6. Inclusive education or IPED. Now, yung coordinatorship na yan, related daw yan siya sa teaching and learning. Ibig sabihin, kapag yan po, trabaho nyo, coordinator kayo, automatic meron kayong dapat supposedly meron yan siyang considered na 1 hour. Originally, under sa previous memorandum ng DepEd, pero dito hindi na binanggit yan. Diba? ICT coordinators, alam nyo to. Especially sa Davao City. 2015, nag-draft tayo ng policy, Division Memorandum. If I am not mistaken, Division Memorandum number 2, Series of 2015. Gumawa tayo ng policy, in-endorse natin sa superintendent natin dito sa Davao that time. Pinirmahan yun. Approve yun. Na bawat ICT coordinator sa lawak ng trabaho nyo, mayroon kayong 2 hours na teaching load deduction. So, kabilang sa 6 hours nyo, yung 4 na oras na lang yung teaching contact time nyo kasi yung 2 hours na yun, ibibigay sa inyo sa ICT. Kasi napakalaki ng trabaho na yun. Yun yung recognition sa ICT coordinators. That was 2015, yun yung binigay natin. In-endorse natin yung sa division. Shout out sa superintendent namin that time who is now the regional director of Caraga. Nakita niya yun, pumayag si madam. Ngayon, sa policy na to, hindi na naman nire-recognize yung ICT coordinator. Ang laki-laki ng trabaho ng ICT coordinator. Wala na siya, oh. Part na lang siya sa ancillary. So, kung meron kang 60 minutes at 360 minutes every day, tapos coordinator ka sa 6 na yan, part lang yan siya ng ancillary mo. Teacher advisor, school papers, sports development programs, SSG, SSLG, and SELG. Chairmanship, yung mga grade level, grade head, yan sila, grade level, learning area. So, meron kayong 8 learning area, plus reading, kasama na yung reading doon. So, ilan bang learning area? 8 per school year, per grade level. Pero meron pang MTB, meron ding EPP. So, around 10. So, there are around 10 learning areas. Hindi na naman sinama dito yung LR. Yung LR, sa kanya lahat ng learning area eh. Wala. Hindi kasama dito. Unrecognized. Nung panahon ng pandemic, ang LR yung bumuhay ng mga module. Pero unrecognized. Pinag-aralan ba talaga to? In the designation of teaching-related assignments, school heads shall consider the specialization of teachers who shall be assigned along with their respective workloads. Teachers with less than 6 hours of teaching load shall be prioritized in the designation of teaching-related assignments. In other words, mag-offset pa rin itong mga coordinatorships na ito kung underload yung teacher. They shall also consider the guidelines and requirements written in other existing policies related to the teaching-related assignments which shall be designated to the teachers. In other words, yung policy value ng bawat coordinatorship na mga na-mention dito will still be referred sa mga existing policies previously. Wala na si guidance dito, no? Nandito pa si guidance. So si school registrar nawala. Nako! Designation of teaching-related assignment shall be enabled by the designation order from the school head. So, kailangan merong papel. Merong parang appointment ba? Kailangan may designation letter from the school head duly concurred by the teacher concerned. At dapat pumayag yung teacher. So, kung ayaw ng teacher, pwede siyang mag-hindi. Kasi yun nakalagay eh. Duly concurred. Ibig sabihin nun, dapat pumayag din yung teacher na ibibigay sa kanya yung ancillary na yun. Kung ayaw niya, huwag mo pilitin. School shall prepare a list of teachers designated to perform teaching-related assignments and submit the same to the office of the SDS for approval. So, in other words, meron ka pang designation letter at meron ding approval from the superintendent na ni-recognize yung teaching auxiliary mo or coordinatorship mo or chairmanship mo or whatever. Tapos, teaching-related assignments must be reflected in the Electronic School Form 7. Ayan na naman si Step 7. Shout out sa may gawa nito. Sana in-address nyo yung mga issues na na-mention ng mga schools nationwide. During the beginning, daming issue ng SF7 na yan. Yung Electronic SF7 na yan. This document shall serve as a basis for future management action and decision on workload assignment or request for additional manpower. So, additional manpower. Vega. Manpower in terms of what? Teaching? Teaching related? Administrative? Kala ko ba may TNA? Masyadong malaki yung binigay na responsibility ng SF7. Yung electronic SF7. Kahit kulang naman yung laman. Mahirap to. Teachers performing teacher-related assignments, duties, and responsibilities beyond regular work hours, whether within or outside the school premises. Ulit-ulit, no? Ina-emphasize talaga, no? Within or outside. Shall be granted with vacation service credit subject to the guidelines provided herein as defined by other DepEd issuances. Teaching-related assignment, duties, and responsibilities beyond regular work hours. Ibig sabihin nun, after 8 hours. So yun, kapag after 8 hours na, service credit. Kapag teaching-related assignment. In other words, ito, yan. Kapag daw yan, ginagawa mo na outside the 8 hours. Kasi yun yung nakalagay eh. You know? Asan na yun? Nawala. Hindi ko na makita. Oh, yun, no? Beyond regular work hours. Ibig sabihin yan, work hours includes teaching and ancillary. So, 8 hours. So, after 8 hours daw, tinatrabaho mo pa rin ito, meron kang service credit. Ang problema, wala nga tayong isinasubmit ng MOV for the ancillary eh. Pero nakalagay kasi dito, nilagay nila dito, meron payment of teaching overload. Ito grant of VSC. Teacher ancillary to define, teaching work hours, shall be rendered 8 hours, ito pa. 8 hours of services rendered shall be equivalent to at least 1.25 vacation service credit. 8 hours nga yung rendered mo nga ancillary outside your 8 hours na teaching load, pero 1.25 lang yung service credit. Bakit? Kailan pa naging equal yung 8 hours na trabaho sa 1.25, 1.1 and a quarter na service credit? Paano yun? Saan galing yung ganun computation? Paano na-tabulate yun? 8 hours ka nagtrabaho na for the whole week na excess, pero yung service credit mo 1.25 lang? Bakit? Gulo. Umiintindihan, paano ang galing to? Teachers shall secure authority from the school head to render work beyond regular work hours, specifying the following. Yan. So meron pala tayong measurement. Meron tayong ipapasa ng MOV. Basta beyond 8 hours. Bakit si teacher pa yung gagawa nito? Most of the time, yung mga trabaho na yan is galing naman sa taas. Dapat si school head yung mag-justify, hindi siguro si teacher. Di ba? Teachers shall submit the following to the school head: accomplishment report, approved authority, which is this one. Once approved by the personnel unit, the school head shall approve the individual accomplishment report, submit to the SDS. Each RMO shall prepare the special order indicating the list of eligible teachers. So, meron pala silang power to actually say na someone is ineligible. Once approved, the personnel unit shall record the earned VSC in the employee's leave card. Accumulated VSC are used to offset absences of a teacher due to illness, blah blah blah. And procedures for the use of VSC to offset absences or deduction in vacation salary shall be in accordance. Ganun pa rin eh. Tools and procedures. To provide guidance and further details for the implementation of this policy, so shall provide necessary tools and procedures through a strand memorandum, particularly on the process of the payment of teaching overload. So meron pa pala silang idadagdag dito. So, sana ma-address nila yung mga concern natin. Regional offices, school divisions offices, school head. O, dito tayo sa school head. Exercise fair, reasonable, and equitable distribution of teaching workload and overload, teaching-related assignments, and the other workload of teachers using the electronic school from 7 consistent with the DepEd rules and regulations. In cases of teaching overload, considers the specialization requirements when assigning additional teaching loads. Wala namang specialization sa elementary eh. Paano yung elementary? Continuously provides opportunities for teachers to develop professionally, ensures strict compliance, monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of this order. So meron silang grievance mechanism. Tingnan natin. Concerns, complaints, and or violations arising from the implementation of this policy shall be addressed through the grievance machinery provided under DepEd Order Number 35 Series of 2004. Sino pa sinong teacher takot nga yung teacher mag-complain eh. Eh yung nandoon sa grievance machinery ng DepEd Order Number 35 2004, school head. E paano kung yung complaint niya kay school head? Eh yung nandoon sa policy, yung ay nako. MNE. Ito, pinaka-importante to. MNE. The Department of Education through the BHROD shall monitor, evaluate, and review the implementation of this policy, consistent with the policy development process of the department. Furthermore, BHROD SED shall gather feedback on the implementation of these guidelines. Wait. From concerned personnel across different governance levels. Anchored on the principle of decentralization and shared governance, the department aims to empower the field offices in terms of monitor. Alibay. Okay. In other words, isang opisina lang yung magmamonitor, BHROD. Itong SED, under to sa region. So pagdating nito sa field, ang HR ng division offices ang mag-MNE. Hindi naman nila MNE. Hindi naman nila trabaho yun eh. Merong MNE sa SJOD. Merong SEPs for that. Labo. Ang labo ng MNE. Dapat merong structure kung paano gagawin yung MNE. Merong tool na gagamitin for MNE. Yung process flow kung saan makikita yung labo. Ngayon, ang labo. Ito yung isang part pala na, okay, I was flagged right now. Hindi ko daw binasa. Ito yung part 3. As a general rule, only teachers in schools with teacher shortage based on the enhanced planning parameters are eligible for teaching overload pay. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kapag merong excess teachers yung school nyo under sa TNA, hindi kayo qualified to yun. However, tasks requiring actual classroom teaching, yun yung actual talaga, kasi nga, overload na si teacher. 6 hours na siya nagtuturo, mayroon pa siyang teaching load na iba. Yun siya, pwede daw yun siya for consideration sa teaching overload. Provided na pasok nga yung number 1 and number 2, which we discussed a while ago. Pero in general, yun nga, yung general rule niya, kapag yung school ninyo, merong excess ng teacher under TNA, kasi yun yung parameter na ginagamit ng DepEd meron kayong excess teachers, hindi kayo qualified to avail of this policy. Or, kung merong underload sa mga teachers, kasi kung merong underload sa teachers, automatic, merong excess ng teacher sa school. Yun yung ano ng TNA. Unfair. Unfair siya. Let's summarize. Mga bago lang. Let's summarize. Yung teaching workload, minimension niya talaga yung work hours na 8 hours lang daw dapat sa isang araw. 6 hours must be spent on classroom teaching. Yung 2 oras, ancillary tasks. O pwede yung sa loob or sa labas ng school. Ano yung ancillary tasks? Yun yung lesson planning, preparation of instructional materials, checking of assessments or evaluations, pag-grade, class record. Yun siya, part yun siya ng ancillary task. Matatawag siyang teaching overload kung apart from the 6 hours na actual teaching contact niya sa students, meron pa siyang ibang tinuturuan na teaching contact pa rin. Kapag merong ganun, automatic, it should be compensated with an overload pay. Pera yun. Hindi yun siya service credit pera dapat yun. Ang bibigyan ng priority for overload ay yung mga schools lamang na mayroong teacher shortage. Yun mention natin ngayon, bago lang. Yung teacher ancillary task na minention sa policy, yun yung mga na-mention natin kanina. Na number 1, mag-attend ng meeting. Sama yun. Lesson planning, grading. Part yun siya sa ancillary. Mamimit lamang yun, gagawin lamang yun within the 2-hour window. Yung 2 hours na outside the 6-hour teaching contact. Yung problem natin, sa minention natin kanina, paano kung yung 2 hours mo sa isang araw, nabiyak. Meron kang 30 minutes sa bumaga, 20 minutes na naman papalapit sa tanghali, and then another 20 minutes in the beginning of the afternoon, and then the rest will be the rest of the afternoon. Paano yun? Does it mean na pwede kong umuwi or lumabas sa school? Kasi ancillary yun eh. I should be entitled to go out, to leave. Hindi ba maapektuhan yung DTR? Must I log out and then every time I go back in the school, log in? Ganun ba yun? Ano magiging monitoring mechanism for that? Yung mga biometrics natin, hindi naman design para sa ganun. And then, ano pa? Teaching-related assignment. Yun yung mga additional duties na mention natin, like school coordinatorships. Yun nga, na-mention na, kinategorize na kanina. For as long as, yung mga nandoon sa loob na na-mention kanina, yun yung qualified lamang that are considered as teaching-related ancillary. Other than that, administrative na siya. Ulitin natin kapag hindi siya kabilang doon, automatic, administrative na siya. Kasi, in-stipulate kung ano yung teaching-related assignment or coordinatorship. So, yun lang yun. Other than that, automatic, assumed na siya as administrative task. Kapag administrative task ba, pag binigay yun sa teacher, ano mangyayari? Grievance na naman? Vacation service credits, as defined kanina, it should be earned for working beyond regular working hours. Meaning, bibigyan ka ng service credit kapag tapos na yung 8 oras na trabaho mo sa loob ng classroom o sa loob ng school. Yun yung for service credit. Kapag within pa sa trabaho ng 8 hours, yung teaching load, yun yung kailangan bayaran in monetary remuneration. Yun yung clear dapat dun. Though, let's be fair with the policy. It does create a better work environment for teachers. Yun. It tries as much as we can see it tries to ensure that they have dedicated time for the core function of a teacher, which is teaching activities. Yun. It tries or it aims to establish a clear division between what a public school teacher's teaching hours are and what are non-teaching tasks. Ang problema, Yun yung mga na-mention natin kanina. Number 1, the policy states that 2 hours per day are allocated for teacher ancillary tasks, which can be done within or outside the school. Pero hindi minention doon if ever ba yung trabaho is done outside the school hours, meron pa rin bang compensation. So, meron tayong uncompensated work. Number 2, hindi clear yung time allotment. Kapag sinabi mong sa loob ng 30-hour weekly classroom teaching time is not provided, yung breakdown niya is not provided, malabo yung allotment ng time. In other words, ang ending nito, confusion na naman kung paano natin i-evaluate yung time dedicated to different subjects or grade levels. Pangatlo, yung policy, priority niya ay yung teacher shortage. Yun lamang yung makaka-receive ng overload pay. Disadvantage siya sa mga schools na fully staffed naman, pero meron pa rin namang heavy workload. Another thing, yung special program. Tinatry ng policy na i-identify that other teaching-related assignments can still be considered as part of the said policy even if bago siya na program pagdating ng incoming next year or school years in the future. Ang problema, meron siyang assumption na it will still fall within the existing categories. Ang problema doon kasi is there is a possibility that certain programs will be entirely new and unique yung workload demands ng policy na yun or ng program na yun. So, paano siya? Hindi siya pasok dito. Kasi hindi universal yung measurement. Yung grant of service credit, though the policy outlines the different steps to obtain a vacation service credit for tasks performed beyond regular working hours, yung process mismo medyo bureaucratic in nature. Nakaka-discourage yun sa mga teachers na mag-apply. Kasi pahirapan eh. And last but not the least, yung minention natin kanina, yung M&E, masyadong nakarely kay BHROD. Parang, paano if the BHROD will not be able to effectively monitor and evaluate the implementation of the policy? Kasi hindi naman kasi part ng BHROD work eh. Yung M&E. Supposedly, di ba, meron talaga tayong M&E for that. Dapat sila yun eh. Sila yung mas bihasa kung paano mag-M&E. So, what I think is medyo problematic talaga. Masyadong objective yung workload distribution. Sa sobrang universalized or standardized niya, nagiging objective yung distribution ng workload. Kasi nga, nakarely yung policy sa credit system, wherein a specific value is assigned to each ancillary task. Yung approach na yun, medyo subjective eh. Kasi hindi natin minimeasure yung effort required for each task. Kasi nga, mayroong mga task na magva-vary yung trabaho niya, depende sa context. Una, school size. Hindi minimension dito yung school size. Parang, parang walang factor yung school size. Pangalawa, yung frequency ng task. Parang wala lang. Yung duration ng task, yung minention natin kanina sa ICT, may mga workloads na napaka-trabahoso compared sa ibang workloads. Parang wala siyang factor. Hindi siya kinikredit dito. Di ba? Another thing, it lacks a defined process for submitting and evaluating or reviewing workloads. Kapag sinabi mong sa School Form 7 ka lang nakarely, gaano ba ka tawag nito, transparent yung paglalagay sa workload ng SF7, lahat ba yun can be interpreted universally? Kung yung school form 7, yung school head ang gumagawa supposedly, di ba? Yun yung nakalagay dun eh. School form 7 should be an administrative task. Ang tanong dun, meron bang review for that particular school form 7, electronic school form 7, dun sa part ng teacher? Wala eh. Dapat kasi i-involve natin yung mga schools, yung mga teachers sa schools kapag sa ganun. To ensure transparency and teacher participation. Meron naman tayong school checking committee. O bakit din natin gamitin? Para makita natin maliwanag yung distribution ng ancillary task and teaching assignment. Bakit hindi natin sila gamitin? Bakit hindi natin itap yung division checking committee to evaluate this? Kasi school forms pa rin naman chine-check ng checking committee yung DCC O bakit hindi natin sila itap for that? Para to ensure that the school form 7 thus align with the existing policies. And then yung DCC will recommend, will create reports and recommend sa superintendent natin. Bakit hindi natin yun gawin? To ensure transparency. That way, merong teacher participation. Akala ko ba inclusive tayo? And this would allow teachers to voice their concerns kung excessive na masyado yung workload nila or yung tasks nila outside their the work hours or the required work hours per day or even their own expertise. Kasi madalas, tinatapon natin yung teaching related tasks sa mga teachers kahit hindi naman sila bihasa doon. Kasi nandyan pa rin kasi yung, tagal na kasi ako dito sa DepEd, ikaw naman kasi bago ka, patutunan mo rin naman yan. Di ba? Madalas yan. Sana din yung policy, adaptable siya sa different context ng mga school. Di ba? When we say contextualization, localization, bakit yung policy universal? Masyadong static kasi yung credit system niya eh. Na para bagang hindi niya tinitake into account yung variation ng mga different workload depending sa school size or location ng mga schools or teachers. Example, yung mga teacher na nasa remote areas, yung mga last mile school, mas malamang sa malamang may additional responsibilities sila kasi nga limited yung resources nila. Pero hindi yun siya magre-reflect sa ating napaka-static na credit system ng ating policy na to. So sana, i-consider natin yung school size. Kasi nga, it could represent significant improvement sa policymakers na tinitingnan pala nila kung small, medium, large, or extra large yung school. The larger the school, it is most likely na magre-require ng more time kapag mag-a-accomplish ng mga reports compared sa smaller school. LIS, EBIS, di ba? Yan, kapag mas malaki yung school, mas malaki yung trabaho. Bakit hindi na natin kino-consider yan dito? Sayang yung policy na to. Hilaw. Kapag i-consider natin yung size ng school, mas mai-ensure natin yung adaptability ng policy when it comes to workload distribution. Mas balance siya in terms of the different school environments. Kasi hindi naman static yung sizes ng schools ng DepEd. Another, yung policy doesn't provide a clear mechanism for incorporating workload demands from new programs or project. Kasi nga, localized, may mga programa sa iba't ibang localized schools. Pero yung static masyado yung ating policy, parang hindi siya mag-a-adapt doon, hindi siya flexible. Paano yung mga program owners na mag-i-introduce ng mga iba't ibang program, innovation, etc., etc.? Hindi ba natin i-consider yun? Yung nature ng program, yung frequency or yung generation ng ancillary task. Wala na. Sayang sana yun. It could have been used, this information could have been used to assign appropriate workload credit dun sa framework ng ating policy distribution ng mga workloads. With that, it could ensure na yung bagong programa na i-introduce ng school, it does not affect yung moral ng teacher kasi meron siyang compensation sa teacher overload. Di ba? Yung M&E talaga yung M&E kanina, it really lacks a defined process. Wala talaga. Basta sinabi si BHROD na, mag-evaluate, mag-monitor. Wala. Walang monitoring and evaluation tool to identify the effectiveness of the workload distribution. Nag-rely lang siya na kaya ng electronic school form 7 na yun. Wala naman Hindi naman kasi when the electronic school form 7 documents the workload distribution of the teachers. Pero when it comes to the implementation of this policy, may hawak ba si BHROD doon? May monitoring tool ba siya? Wala. Yun yung butas. Malaking butas. Napaka-importante pa naman ng M&E. Napaka-importante doon. Sana, mayroong monitoring and evaluation component na subjected siya to annual checking or quarterly checking or semestral checking na an office like the M&E or the planning. Sorry planning, kayo na naman. Mahal na mahal ko kayo, planning, pero sana kayo, kasama ng M&E, kayo yung magsasubject ng annual checking, mag-analyze ng mga report, para ma-assess yung policy effectiveness nitong ating nilabas na DepEd order. Ganun sana, di ba? With that, it could allow adjustment and improvement to the workload balancing system as we implement it over time. Wala. Hilaw nga Hilaw. Napakahilaw. So, I must admit, maganda yung purpose ng policy. But at the end of the day, mas naging maganda sana yung policy kung na-address niya yung mga issues na to. Kasi ang daming gray areas niya. And I hope, kasi mention nga sa policy na mayroong pang subsequent na mga orientations that will be conducted by the office of the BHROD, siguro yung USEC assigned there, they could clear out these issues and maybe address these concerns. Pero as of now, kung i-rate natin from 1 to 10, itong policy na to, 4. Bakit 4? In-explain ko na. Ang haba ng explanation ko kung bakit 4 out of 10 yung rating ko dito sa policy na to. Kasi may mga components na napakahalaga na wala, absent, especially sa M&E. Hindi siya na-discuss So, ilang oras na ako nagyaw-yaw. Ilang oras na ako nagtatatalak dito. So, yun. Sayang yung ganda ng policy, yung objective, yung ganda ng policy, yung sayang. But anyway, I can say na yung mga policy crafters nito, nasa puso pa rin naman nila yung i-address yung issue, yung concern ng ating mga teachers, no? Nakikita naman natin na nasa puso nila. They do have the intention to address the issues. Pero yun nga, sa masyadong pagmamadali, mas malaki yung mga issues na hindi na-address. And then, when we are not able to address existing issues, magbubunga yun siya ng additional issues. Yun yung malaking problema. Ulitin natin When we try to fix a problem, and we aren't able to address the problem, ang nangyayari, mas nagbubunga ng mga additional na problema, yung mga ginagawa nating solusyon that should have cured the problem. Mas dumadami yung side effect. Yun yung problema dun. So, I hope I was able to clear out a lot of the things that I found to be um, how can I say it? Deficient in the policy. Kasi, ganda ng workload balancing, objective ng agency. Part ako ng team na unang nag-study nito. And then, ito lang yung makikita ko. So, medyo masakit siya. And I hope you understand why I'm so passionate about it. Kasi, nandun ako eh. Nung unang diniscuss to eh. Kung bakit siya kailangan i-ano eh. Kaso, hindi siya na-achieve eh. Kaya medyo masakit. Sige lang. Anyway, I hope I was able to address some of the questions, concerns na who also had the same sentiments that I do. So maraming salamat sa oras at panahon na panunood. And I will not take down this video. Kahit na sabihin nila na I am very critical. I'm critical kasi mahal ko yung DepEd. Basta para sa guro, alam nyo, ako nasa unahan. Alam nyo yan. Kaya medyo critical ako sa mga ganitong bagay. Kasi yung advocacy ko has always been the same. Kung ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan, ang guro ang pag-asa ng ating kabataan. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.